Hello and welcome. If there is one thing in the region that Afghanistan, India and Pakistan should work together at this time, is a joint fight against terrorism. The three nations suffer from terrorism for decades, but have been hesitant to work together. Both Afghanistan and India believe that terrorism and terrorist elements attacking them are in Pakistan. And Pakistan believes that its anti-state elements enjoy support from its neighbours in the West and East. As terrorism takes another shape in itself in the Middle East and threatens security of other countries in the region and beyond, the key question is how vulnerable our region is. What Afghanistan, India and Pakistan should do together to first get rid of the current problems and stand united against a spreading terrorism of IS kind. On this program, we at TOWNHALL News here in Kabul hosted together with NDTV in Delhi and Pakistan's ARY in Islamabad. Here on my panel in Kabul, I have the former intelligence chief Amrullah Saleh and the top diplomat Javed Ludin, our former deputy foreign minister, and a handpick of students and civil society activists, and indeed, most importantly, a guest of honor. Right here in my right is Mr. Shuja, who lost his father and carries a sharp nail in his arm leg for 5 years. So he's going to tell us more later on his story, that how terrorism has changed his life and his dreams. Now to Vikram in Delhi.
Right, Lutfullah, thank you so much for joining us. It's important to try and figure out where has the problem come from, what has caused the problem, and what we can do to actually stamp it out. And that is something we should all jointly try and arrive at some answers towards as we go forward. Special guest Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, senior leader of the BJP, is here, and Mani Shankaraya, former diplomat and a senior leader of the Congress party. He's of course spent some time in Pakistan as well. And we do also have a special guest, Kuldeep Singh, who's with us here, who was a DTC driver, saved something like 80 lives in October the 29th, 2005, when the blasts were taking place in Delhi. With his courage, he's paid a price for it. But he's also going to be talking to us about what sort of an impact terrorism can make on people's lives. So, you know, looking forward to this, to an engaging conversation. As Moeed, as I pass it on to you.
Thank you to both Lutfullah and Vikram in Kabul and Delhi. Let me introduce, I have a small panel with me. In the studio is Mr. Asad Umar. He's a member of parliament. He's a senior member of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf in the core committee. Next to Mr. Asad Umar is Air Marshal Shahid Latif, a very known, prominent defense analyst and columnist and commentator in Pakistan. And also joining me here are the students from certain key distinguished institutions like Quaid-e-Azam University, Namal, National Defense University, and also from Roots Law School. Over to Kabul.
Thank you, Moeed. Before going to the case study, I would like to give an opportunity to the panelists here to make introductory remarks. Answering the key question is that how vulnerable the region is to terrorism, and when do we expect that there is going to be an end to it? Mr. Saleh, to you first.
For India and Afghanistan, terrorism means militant groups who are supported by Pakistan, who are based in Pakistan, who have been used as tools of foreign policy by Pakistan to both destabilize Afghanistan and also destabilize Pakistan. Today, there is close cooperation between India and Afghanistan, and there is also close intelligence sharing between the two countries on how to stand against these extremist groups. But the disconnect between us is Pakistan. Let's also not forget that the largest victim of terrorism in the region is not Pakistan, it's Afghanistan, where we have been suffering from terrorism, not post 9/11, but long before 9/11. We have been battling against Gulbuddin Hekmatyar's forces, who is still based in Pakistan. After that, we have been battling against the Taliban, whose leadership is still based in Pakistan.
Going to Mr. Ludin for his introductory remarks, and then to Vikram in India.
Frankly, I think we need to, the three countries need to start an initiative where we take our responsibility seriously. We basically respond to our people's aspirations, and we tell other people in the world that we can do it. They can only help, but we are the ones that are primarily responsible for doing something about this.
Thank you. Now back to you, Vikram, in India for your overview.
A lot of the problems actually originate in Pakistan, and that, Dr. Sami, as I come to you, is a view that many in India also express, that yes, Pakistan is now also paying the penalty or paying the price for terrorism, but a lot of the origins were there. So it's a bit like somebody lighting a match to set a neighbor's house on fire, and then the fire coming back and affecting you.
If there is any place terrorists are trained for committing terror acts in the 3 countries, they happen to be in Pakistan. So it's in fact the crucible of terrorism is Pakistan. By and large, the overwhelming terrorist threat is the same ideology as it is in Afghanistan, as in Pakistan. They claim that they are doing it for Islam. So that all 3 countries are suffering from a version of Islam which they may individually disown, but it's something which seems to have a cementing factor, judging by the growth of ISIS. This is something that has to be addressed by moderates in Pakistan as to what they're going to do.
Okay. Manishankar Iyer?
I agree entirely with you, Vikram, that terrorism is a scourge. But it is a scourge not only in 1 or 2 of our countries, but very much equally so in Pakistan, which as a victim of terrorism is one of the most severely affected victims. And I don't think the fact of Islam is at all relevant over here. What is relevant is terrorism, irrespective of what the terrorists claim to be at the origin of their actions and their thought.
The drivers of terrorism in all 3 countries are domestic in origin, as well as abetted by regional strategies, as well as global power game. So to simplify it down to one country and to one religion is really not facing the reality of the challenge that we face. The Mukti Bani terrorists, armed, abetted, trained by India, were not fighting for any religion. The Maoist rebels who are now operating in more than a dozen states in India have got nothing to do with Islam or, for that matter, any other religion. There are known acts of terrorism by Hindu extremists in India, and so on and so forth. We can go on. I think as long as we stay in denial and we keep the narrative towards the problem is coming from the other side of the border, we have nothing to do with it, and we are only the innocent victims of this terrorism, you're never going to find a solution.
And let me also add that in every studio today in Islamabad and in Delhi and in Kabul, and I'm going to Kabul, we have victims of terrorism who are here to narrate what happened to them, their loved ones, their families, their colleagues. So I pass it over to Lutfullah in Kabul.
We have a case study and a true victim in our studios, so I am passing to Ahmad Shuja, a 24-year-old student at university here in Kabul, who was wounded in an attack 5 years ago in Kabul, and he lost his father.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Shuja Zamani هستم، یک تن از قربانیان حادثه انتحاری که 5 سال قبل در سرک در لمان رخ میتم. ما در او حادثه پدرم و یکی از میمانای ما که 15 سال بعد از پاکستان برگشت به وطن کرده بود تا یک سرپناهی به خود افغانستان بسازه و در اونجا زندگی کنه. متاسفانه میمان ما همراه پدرم از در او حادثه جام شهادت می نوشه و خودم همچنان زخمی میشم که قسمت های چشم می باشه و بدنم و اعضای بدنم بعضی چرای عمیق می باشه داشت که ما در او حادثه تقریبا 5 سال پیش یک حادثه بسیار المناک بود که من نتونستم زندگی خود به شکل درستش پیش ببرم. زمان ما 19 سال عمر داشتم و مسئولیت تمام فامیل به دوش خودم بود و 5 برادرها بودیم همراه والدین ما که برادر خودم 7 سال عمر داشت و نتونستم در اون زمان ما تحصیلات خود ادامه بدم و زندگی خود را درست بسازم. اما کردم که دکان داشتیم، دکان کاروبار خود پیش ببرم و شب باطه فامیل خود از او را تعیین کنم و خواست ما از امی دو کشور و افغانستان دولتش است که وقتی که اینا از تروریسم مشکلات را دچار هستند و رنج میبرند، چرا یک کار نمیکنند که دست به دست هم بتن تا تروریسم از بین ببره و در آینده هزارها و صدها فامیل دیگر هم دچار همچو حادثه نشه و اعضای فامیل خود، اولاد خود، فرزند خود از دست ندن.
We have Mr. Saad Malik, who many of people know that this year lost his sister Faiza, who's a lawyer, in an attack on Islamabad district courts. Let me walk to him.
My name is Saad Tariq Malik. मैं फिज़ा शहीद एडवोकेट का सबसे बड़ा भाई हूँ. We were 3 brothers and sisters. और हमने बहुत मेहनत से अपनी बहन को पढ़ाया और we had बहुत ज़्यादा तवक्कुआत थे मेरे वालिदैन के भी. और मेरी
पढ़ा उन्होंने?
जी, उन्होंने दुबई से अपने O levels किए थे. वो नॉर्थ अम्ब्रिया यूनिवर्सिटी इंग्लैंड गई थी. And वहाँ पे उन्होंने she took a distinction here in LLB in Islamabad law, Islamabad School of Law में. और फिर and she already उनका already Kingston University में LLM की admission भी हो गया था और वो practice करने के लिए law Islamabad district courts में कोई 3.5 महीने तक she was practicing. और मैं और मेरे भाई हम लोग दुबई में होते हैं. We are not here in Pakistan. तो वही हमारा एक किस्म की बड़ी बहन, बड़ा भाई जो मेरे वालिदैन का ख्याल रखना, उनको हॉस्पिटल लेके जाना, उनकी मेडिसिन्स और पूरे घर को चलाना. एंड वी वर ऑल सेल्फ मेड और वी नेवर एक्सपेक्टेड कि हम लोग ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस फेस करेंगे. इसलिए हमें इन्हीं हाथों से विद दी सेम हैंड्स हमें उनको रुखसत करना था और इन्हीं हाथों से हमने उनको दफनाया. और मतलब कि ये जो वाक़या जब पेश आया तो मैं अपने सारे भाइयों को और इस पूरे मुल्क में हर एक घर में एक औरत है, एक बहन है, एक माँ है, तो हम लोग जितने भी हम मर्द हैं, मैं यही कहूँगा कि आप अपनी औरतों को, ख़वातीन को पढ़ाएं, उनके जज्बात और ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड बिकॉज ये जो लॉस जिसमें से व्हिच वी हैव गॉन थ्रू आई वुडंट लाइक टू सी कि किसी और भाई के आंखों में या किसी वालिद साहब के, कौन सा वो वालिद साहब है जो
How are your parents now?
जी, my mother she was not well and उनको ये लैप्स आते थे जब भी खुदा न खास्ता कोई उन्हें होता था. she used to run outside the house and she used to think कि you know someone is going to come to our house and try to attack. And she used to say that no one's going to get martyred from this house again. So we had to send her to Dubai ताकि उनका इलाज हो. We wanted her to be out. मेरे वालिद साहब भी आना चाह रहे थे but he wasn't well. So बस मेरी बस दुआ है कि इंशाल्लाह people can spread awareness and know.
Okay. Thank you, sir. But with this, I will pass on to Vikram.
Right, Moeed, thanks for coming here. And you know, the people who suffer and who pay the price thanks to terrorism, we have Sangeeta here with us also, who lost her husband, and as that story was coming, you could see how emotional she was getting, also remembering some of the past, and I'll come to her a little later in the program. Because right now, I would just want to go across to Kuldeep Singh, who's a real hero who's with us right now. Working as a DTC driver, he saved something like 80 lives on October the 29th, 2005, when the blast took place in Delhi. He found a ticking bomb, threw it out, and as a result, lost his eyesight, became hearing impaired, and also lost some fingers on his hand. So, कुलदीप जी, अगर आप बताना चाहेंगे क्या हुआ?
उस दिन आउटर मुद्रिया के रूट की हम गाड़ी ले रहे थे, तो पीछे से आवाज़ आई कि गाड़ी में बम है. तो मैंने बोला कि 1 मिनट रुको, थोड़ा आगे चल के खाली एरिया है. उस समय मेरी गाड़ी के अंदर 70 से 80 पैसेंजर थे. मैंने उनको सभी को उतार कर फिर गाड़ी से वो बम उठाकर मैं नीचे उतरा. नीचे उतर के एक पेड़ के पास रख के जैसे ही मैं 2 या 3 ही कदम चला तभी बम ब्लास्ट हो गया. उसमें मेरे दोनों आँखें, एक हाथ ये ख़राब हो गया है. तो हम तो यही कहना चाहते हैं कि भाई इनसे सख्ती से निपटा जाए कि जिससे कि भाई ये हमारे जैसे बेकसूर लोग आगे चल के बम ब्लास्ट से ना मारे जाए और भाई ना अपाए जा पाए.
So I think, Moeed, perhaps you can take a break, and then when we come back, let's open it up to a broader discussion.